Okay, so for this particular video, I want to go a little bit more deeper into the auto assignment of batches to sales orders as it relates to Katana's native integrations with Shopify, WooCommerce, and BigCommerce. I'll be using an example here to kind of talk a little bit more in depth about the logic of how Katana assigns batch numbers to sales orders that are being fulfilled, especially if you're using automatic fulfillments directly through your integration fulfillment sync. So, for example, if you don't know what that is, the sync is basically anytime a sales order is marked as completed in your e-commerce application, it's also marked as delivered in your Katana application. And those two types of statuses are actually synced together. But if you have batch trackable items in your sales orders, then what's the logic in the fulfillment process? And how does that look? So, the logic for order fulfillment of assignments is pretty straightforward, but there are some elements of confusion that can happen because this is a very complex topic. So I briefly mentioned that as you're importing batch numbers to your existing quantities of product, especially if you're just now starting to adopt batches, you're going to have mistakes, especially if you've got a lot of materials and products in your account. So items that become batch trackable, but they have existing stock quantities, get what's called an unbatched quantity of stock assigned to them. So it's under the assumption that the stock already exists. Even if batches haven't been assigned, they probably have batches in real life. So if you decide to use this auto assignment feature, which will be available automatically, you can't really turn it off, and it will sustain first in, first out methodology. Anytime a sales order is completed, any unbatched quantities of stock will be sent out first. And then, of course, you can go in and update your sales orders that are done to reflect what batches they were removed from at a later time if necessary. Once you've gone through all of your unbatched quantities, then the auto fulfillment feature for first in, first out for sales order fulfillments will start to make more sense and actually be a lot more accurate. So what it does as the first mode of depletions from your inventory is it's going to take any stock that is expiring first. So this is the number one most important priority for order fulfillments of stock. So I'll give you a great example here on our batches screen where I have 5 batches of one type of product. This is the 500 gram Brazilian roasted coffee pack. And I want you to notice a couple of differences between each batch here. Firstly, the first batch that I have on the list, which is the one expiring the soonest, is currently out of date. So it's an expired batch, but I still have inventory of it. You might ask yourself, well, what's the probability of sending out a sales order using auto assignments? Wouldn't it put any expired batches onto the sales order? The answer is no. It's already built in. We're not going to send out and automatically assign expired batches to a sales order that's getting fulfilled. Not allowed. So this part that is red, batch 001, will not be assigned to any sales order that's automatically fulfilled on the back end, unless you manually do it, but it will not do it automatically through your fulfillment sync with your integrations. So it's going to take the expiration date first. So basically, if I have a sales order, it'll fulfill from this one first because it's expiring soonest compared to anything else. And it's currently not expired. So this one will take 5 units from batch 002. Then it will take the next one that's expiring if I still need to fulfill more from the sales order. In this case, batch 003 would apply. Now, what happens if for some reason by accident there aren't any expiration dates on a batch? Again, it's data. Things happen. So it's very possible that you might not have an expiration date against one of your batch numbers. It's okay. However, every single time you create a batch, we also create a creation date. So what Katana's logic does is it will assign it'll assign the next batch to any fulfillments based on the earliest creation date. So if it was it's the oldest first. In this case, if I'm selling 15 units of this product from batches, it won't take from the expired batch. First, it will take from this one, which is 002, and then it will take from 003, which have expiration dates. But then it will say, okay, well, there's no more with expiration dates, but we still have some in stock, so what's the logic here? Then it will look at the creation date of the batches. So this means that batch 005 has a creation date of the 23rd of November, where batch 004 has a creation date of the 28th of November. So what does this mean? This means that if I'm selling 15 units, it should take from batch 2, 3, and 5. And only pull from batch 4, which is the fourth one down, as last, because the creation date has no expiration date and the creation date is the most recent. So let's put it to the test and actually see what happens when we are looking at a sales order that came in from Shopify. I'm only going to focus on a quantity of 15 just to see if we do this right, where it will fill from 2, 3, and 5. Let's give it a test. So if we go to the sell screen and we see that we have one imported sales order from Shopify for 15 units of the 500 gram coffee. So let's see how it goes. We'll open up the existing sales order in our Shopify account, and we'll go ahead and fulfill the items. And then let's see how it closes out. 2, 3, and 5 are what we're looking for. So we'll give it a second. It'll go into its picked state. Then it will assign the batch labels that will be deducted. And let's see what happens. On the done sales order list, we can see that it has been fulfilled. And then here you have it. Batch 002, 003, and 005. Based on the exact same logic. The expired batch, batch 1, won't go. Batch 2 is first. Batch 3 is second. And then the two that only have creation dates instead of expiration dates, batch 005 has the earliest creation date, so it goes first. And that means that all that's left is to fulfill from is batch 004. So this in a nutshell is how auto fulfillment is working with respect to fulfilling items through that sync. We'll take a real quick look at the batches that we have here just to double check that all we have left are the expired batch and also batch 4. So 0500. This is the expired batch, and then this is batch 04. So that will fulfill for the next one that gets auto fulfilled. Now, if you ever come across a situation where, let's say that you've already burned through all of the available inventory, in our case, maybe batch 004 from our batches list here will get consumed, then what Katana will do at this stage is if you do an auto assignment again for another sales order that's coming in, then the way that the logic would work is it would consume these 5 pieces, but if there's more to consume, it will continue to take from any unbatched quantities that exist. If you don't have any unbatched quantities, then of course you won't have any stock at all. Your stock will go into the negative area. And when your stock goes negative, it's not a situation you want to be in, but you have to come back and do some data editing. So you'll then at some point, like in that scenario, need to use our negative stock found feature to find out where that negative entry point took place. That will lead you right into the sales order where the negative stock occurred, and then you can just simply do a stock adjustment or fix wherever that information was wrong, and then put the data correctly, so that way you have batch traceability against the correct sales order.